Hello, folks. It's Wednesday, the 27th of December, and I'm breaking into a Christmas gift bag of coffee. Thank you, Bill. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, folks, I'm just really just kind of checking in to kind of just tell you what's going on. It snowed almost all day yesterday, and so I have some shoveling to do, actually, before I leave the house and go to the post office. Thank you, folks. Already, I've just got a couple of the autographed CDs left. I've just got a couple left. Thank you for your interest. The Muse, get it while you can. I'll be mailing those today. So, for you folks that watch me all the time, I told you about potentially having a gig last night with Icky Blossoms. I didn't have to play. Sarah, which I'm glad. Sarah was well enough to play. I look on Instagram this morning and there's clips from last night. It looks like they had a good night. But I'm glad I didn't have to leave the house. I didn't have to go out and deal with the snow and the cold. And I still get paid. How's that? I like that. That is part of what I wanted regarding my status as a local artist musician. That mutual respect. That my time is worth it. I didn't even have to play, but just knowing that I would be able to play for them was worth them paying me some money, and I appreciate it very much. So as always, people are living and people are dying. Famous DJ Jim Ladd died recently. I know who Jim Ladd is. I think he's on the Wall by Pink Floyd. But I know I've actually listened to some of his programming over the years. They call him the last DJ. We just lost him. We lost quite a few people, but he's someone that I'm thinking of because yesterday we got word that drummer extraordinaire, who is not a household name but ought to be, Tony Oxley, passed away. And Discus Music, who I have a lot of respect for and love, have in recent years released some of his stuff. He has that was out years ago. He has some very collectible records that I have never seen locally, and when I see them, they're like $150, $200, $300, $500 records. He's important English musician, and he's on September Energy by Centipede with all the great Canterbury people. Very sensitive percussionist. I listened to this yesterday after finding out the news, and this is really, really good. It's improvisation. There's a whole lot of percussion on here, not a lot of straight drumming. It's beautiful. It just pulls you in. It's so nuanced. And another thing I have by him on Discus is Cecil Taylor with Tony Oxley. Well, that tells you right there. If he's, playing with Cecil Taylor, I ain't no messing around. So that's who I want to report on this morning. Tony Oxley. Excellent drummer. Should he have been famous? Well, that's beside the point. He made his impact as a musician. He did make his impact probably where it counts the most amongst his peers. Mm. Mm, mm, mm. It's nice to hear from you folks all of your Merry Christmases were very much appreciated. You folks that just come by and say hello, let me know that you appreciate the videos. It means a lot. Thank you. The connection is real. We need to do this. More of us need to do this. So I'm going to keep doing it. So what did I actually do yesterday? Because, so it's pretty relaxing, to be basically retired. Yesterday, what I did was practiced a little bit of the Icky Blossoms music in case I would have to play. And then I got a hold of Nick and said, can you let me know pretty soon if you need me? Because if so, then I'm going to spend the rest of the day rehearsing, so I'll be halfway decent. When he let me know that Sarah was going to be able to play, that freed my day up. And I didn't do much of anything yesterday. It was a good ear day. And so for that reason, I did listen to some music, because the tinnitus, I can listen to music when I'm having a bad ear day. And last week sucked. I had 4 days in a row where my head just rang, and it just, I just have to accept it. But it's horrible. You folks that have tinnitus, you know what I'm talking about. Gunnar in Sweden, you say you have it. You know what I'm talking about. Some days it's really loud. It's really annoying. So it's a blessing, like yesterday. And so far today, this morning, is a good day so far. So I putzed around. I played a few records. So I'll show you, and if there's more to say, then I'll say that. Got into this Alternative Facts by Wor Mirran, live at Madison Square Garden. This is some cool stuff. Thank you, Daniel, for sending this to me. The saxophone player on here is good. He's understated, but he's good. He doesn't blow hard at all. But it's like, this is a saxophone player who is unknown probably for playing saxophone by anyone except his small circle. But his playing on here stands out. He's good. I love these soundscapes that they come up with. This stuff is, this is live. It actually is live, a recording. And I know that the word good doesn't tell you much, except that I'm saying it's not bad. It's like collage, and I love collage visually too. There'll be things going on where you can just shift your attention from one thing to the other, or just to try to take in the whole picture. This is really good. So it makes sense to me why it turns out that Dan follows this group. I played this again, Screaming for Titties, Wor Mirran, and on the other side is Pets for Meat by Controlled Bleeding, Split. And this is crazy. This is the one that's like this. I showed this to Blake, and he tripped on. He'd never seen a vinyl record like that. Once again, this is compelling listening. It's like you're listening and you're wondering, what's going on here? There's a musical aspect to it, and then there's a Dada aspect to it where there's vocalizing, where you're wondering, where it's like it's not words, but it's just this. I quite enjoyed it yesterday. Really enjoyed it. I've done stuff like that in the past. It didn't inspire me to do anything. Sometimes when I listen to that stuff, it'll inspire me to open up the studio and just start playing with sound, but I didn't yesterday. I just kept listening. So along those lines, I again watched, this is a DVD, Shallendruk, Sonic, I looked up the word, I forget already. This is cool, it's really minimal. And part of what you're hearing is the sound of matches burning and an accordion. I think it's an accordion. But it works. It kept my attention for quite a while. I didn't watch the whole thing, but cool stuff. Now here's something, because I was talking about folk music. I've been talking about folk music, and it occurred to me, I bet like many people, folks, we all have shelves of stuff. So you have your main shelves and you have your display shelf. A lot of times, doesn't that stuff on the display shelf just sit there, forgotten about, never played? I hate to admit it, but that is true over here. Okay? So, on my shelf in this room, I pulled this. That's all folk, an anthology of folk music. 2 CD, very informative, lots of information. Big fat book of information. This is music, I'd have to read it again. I got the impression that this was primarily French folk music. French, yes. This is primarily folk music related to French culture, possibly Canadian. And I listened to like the first 4 or 5 tracks and really enjoyed it. A Harmonia Mundi release. So that's a fun thing about the collection, is that indeed I can be a tourist in my own home. I listened to this again, Still Ruins. They sent me, this is their latest record, one of their latest records. Musically, I like it. Lyrically, it was like, oh, okay. But you all know how I am about lyrics, okay? Kind of the same with this. I bought this recently, showed it to you. The soundtrack, Dr. Goldfoot and the Girl Bombs. And it's 60s, sunshine, psych pop. But it's funny, it's like what they could get away with back in the 60s is definitely not cool. Now, this is you see the girl in the bikini, so this is back when the misogynistic side of male sexism was normalized. And so there are some really cringeworthy lyrics on this album, watch his girls obey, Dr. Goldfoot and the Girl Bomb, just, ooh, ugh, yuck. But musically, it was fun. I listened to this all the way through. This is another one from Daniel in Germany. Because again, when people give me stuff, I don't just set it away. I do absorb it, even if I don't keep talking about it in a video. So you folks that have sent me stuff, I do appreciate and absorb what you send me. This batch of stuff that Daniel sent me is like, this is like, I have to investigate this because I don't know about this stuff. So this Rolf Schulz Klangführer, Tambura. I listened to this all the way through last night. Mixed, it's some kind of heavy work that involves sound, rock music, and the guitar. Since I don't speak German, I don't know what it's about, but there's parts of it that are kind of, that are jarring, purposely, obviously so. And then there's this one part towards the end of one side where there's all this screaming that's really hard to take because it sounds like pain screams. It's like, man, I'm not into pain anymore, y'all. But this is interesting, and I like the cover. But it's strange. This is one where it would probably help to know the text, what this was all about. Glad I got it, though. It was a trip. it was a cool trip to listen to it. Pulled a record I'd almost forgotten about. The High Llamas, Can Clatters, 2007. This band is highly influenced by Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys. It's like it's a template for the band's sound. You know, literally they're chasing the Pet Sounds approach. And this is very, very good. Their records are hard to find. I've got mostly CDs. I've got one other vinyl piece. This is an example of music that is just so imaginative and so good that I have no idea what they're singing about and just don't care because it's the total picture. Even the name of the album, Can Clatters, I don't know what that means. If it's some sort of, is the word colloquialism, or if it has a meaning somewhere locally or not. But it sparks the imagination. Can Clatters, what the hell, you know? And it's spinning. And this picture, you know, this cover, like it's a place in the imagination, a place in the mind. Really good. Let me see, was there anything else? Well, I'll show it because I was talking to Blake about it. We didn't get to it, but this is an education in funk and in polyrhythms and in less is more. The meters strutting. Stephanie, if you see this, always brings back the days on Spalding Street when we, you know, would dance, have parties, but when we would just listen to music and dance together and stuff, and the meters were an important band then. Well, they still are. But it was like nobody. The meters were like from outer space. And this is a beautiful ratio on Jackpot. That was some serious funk. And Everett and Charles, if y'all happen to see this, you all know what I'm talking about. The meters reminds me of you, Charles, because you were such a badass drummer. I have strong memories of visiting Charles at his parents' house, and he would just be over there practicing his bass drum foot. You know, it's like I never met anybody else that would do that. You know, he showed me a lot. That's why I don't have a drum set, but whenever I have a chance to play the drums, I surprise people because I can get up to speed pretty damn quick. And part of that is from getting my ass kicked by people like Charles in the past who were really good, and I had to up my game. Thank you, Charles. So, people, this is what's going on. The other thing to share with you, because I don't want to tell too much of my family's business, but Floyd is okay. Hopefully, he'll be coming home today. They found out some things about his health that even he and Adrian, my sister, were kind of oblivious to, which can easily happen. You know what I'm saying? So he had some stuff done, and he's in better shape now. Hopefully, he'll go home today. This coffee is good. I do want to say honestly, folks, that it is possible that I will not leave the house again today. And so, with that said, I have CDs to mail, and I have that obligation. So I will probably leave and mail them today. Whenever I do, today or tomorrow, I do send out I send you the tracking number. It's so hit and miss. Some people get their CDs within days. Other folks, it's like almost 2 weeks later, they'll say, CD finally arrived, and I have no control over it. But I'll make another pitch. I'll make another shameless pitch. I'll mainly pitch these two. Interlude. Interlude. And the Muse are for sale. I've got a few more copies autographed by me and Blake. Of course, if you ask me, and people do ask me, if they ask me to sign the CD, I sign it. But here are some rarities. These will probably be the only copies of this that get signed by Blake. And once you hear this, you'll hear what I'm talking about. You can listen to it online anyway. I ain't bullshitting. This was one of the highlights of the year for me regarding releases, my own records. I'm real proud of that. Some of the best records that come out this year were mine, according to me. And that's objective. It's not because I made them, it's because I made something good. Okay? Peace out, people. Have a good day. Let me know how you're doing.